Hello, everyone. We are here at our CEO Network's Inner Journey, and I am here with my very dear friend and co-host, Robert Morales.
Hello. I'm controlling the board, so I'm. You see my arms awkward and other things. So hello. Hi.
And well, hi. And today we are here to talk about making an ass out of you, an ass out of me, and continuing our journey down the road of emotional intelligence.
Assumptions,
and
I'm not here to make an ass out of you, and if I do, I'm probably making an ass out of me. So a lot of assumptions out there. We see conflict, I think, at times, and we just assume things of people when they bring us an issue or bring us a problem, correct?
Oh yeah.
You know, they place it in front of us, you know, and the discussion that we had before the show today, which were many, yes. I will say that, I will admit that. Many discussions. People will bring us problems sometimes that they want us to not necessarily fix, but I think they kind of bring it to us to resolve in some sort of way. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think people bring problems to us all the time in just daily conversations, actually.
Us personally or just in general?
No, in general. The general us.
Yeah. Yeah, we tend to make a lot of assumptions out of people because, you know, I think in a way we love people to a degree we're willing to bring problems to them. And as communal creatures, we are just a species that is primed for problems. Because ultimately, you know, we want to be part of a community. We want to be part of a group of people. And in part of that group, we want to be part of the problem to resolve, right?
Maybe and the solution. Yeah, we want to be the solution.
Is there really a solution though? I mean, do we really want a solution to our problems?
I think so. I think we get to that point where we would like a solution to our problems. We would like not problems, but we would like to learn about what we perceive as problems. Is my take on it.
But what I mean is, like, you know, we're not fighting like saber-toothed tigers anymore. We're not like trying to build a village together. I mean, a lot of these life circumstances have been given to us. And it's so easy to like we don't have to hunt for anything. We can just go buy a pack of meat. We don't have to go like grow something. We just go buy like bananas at the store. You know, there's not this common problem with survival that we're accustomed to, but our innate tendencies are to be communal. You know, we need somebody else. We need a love partner in our life. We need a group of people we associate with. And with that, we bring our problems, right?
Absolutely.
You know, and so I think a lot of this stemmed from, you know, some life circumstances that Mary went through. We're really conscientious about sharing today.
We're going to go ahead and share. How about that? You know, I ran into a situation with a loved one that it was really quite confronting, where I got a call that, you know, and it was a call that was just jarring very early in the morning. Which we all love that, right?
Yeah, and this is somebody close to you, right?
Very, very, very close. And it was a problem that was, you know, it was a situation where I was attempting to help in a few ways, and it wasn't received well. And I would say the reason it wasn't received well is because the other person's assumption of what I thought about them, which I think is a lot of the problems with assuming things about people. And to me, after I sat and reflected on it, really came down to the conclusion that it was this person projecting their insecurities upon me, meaning that they assumed that I thought something of them that wasn't necessarily true, and they treated me as if I assumed that about them when really I was just trying to help. So this is the problem with assuming, I think, is that we project our insecurities or things we think about upon other people, and then we treat them as if they are treating us that way when maybe in fact they're not. You know?
Do you think love in and of itself is insecure?
Oh, that's a deep
Is that too deep of a question?
That's a deep, broad question. I don't know. Okay, be specific.
Because like in my divorce, you know, and towards the end of that journey, you know, she projected a lot of like emotional turmoil. Like there was a lot of anger, there was a lot of frustration projected at me, like I needed to resolve. And when I was going through counseling, I recognized that a lot of these things weren't my problem.
They weren't yours.
You know, like how she felt and where she was going in her life were not my problem to resolve. But for so many years before that recognition, before that realization, like I made my problem. Mm-hmm. And you know, I felt compelled to resolve that for her.
Right.
This is my ex, by the way.
Which we do when we love someone. We attempt to resolve things for them.
We want to take that from them and make them feel better.
Yeah.
You know, and so there were so many problems and so many things that she projected upon me that when I was in counseling and I realized, hey, this isn't my problem, I started like backing away, starting to be, you know, like more neutral, which I think kind of threw her off. You know, one of the things I was taking medication at the time, and she ended up pouring those medications down the drain because she's like, hey, I don't want you doing this anymore, because it was different than the scripts and the things that we were used to doing in moments of frustration, you know, and it was very unfamiliar, and it wasn't the I guess the pattern love that we had come to know and trust in, because people will. So it all comes down to emotional intelligence. So I want to preface it that way.
Always.
So it's this realization that, you know, we love people, and there's two ways that we go about it. If you read John Bowlby, if you read kind of the different personality types, and John Bowlby's really good. There's the anxious and then the avoidant. So she was very anxious, so she projected a lot of her anger towards me in order to engage me in that love. And when I wasn't responsive, it became very like unpatterned, and unfamiliar. So she became very it became very unfamiliar. So she reacted in a very uncommon way, I guess to say.
Yeah.
And so when people project their anger, it's because I think it's because we're really receptive of that anger.
I think yes. I think that it has a lot to do with how we feel about ourselves, to be honest with you. And I feel like, so for an example, back in my heavier days,
Heavier days?
We've talked about this several times.
Yeah.
I was very insecure about my weight and my physical appearance, and I did not feel sexy. I did not feel good about myself. And so what I assumed about everyone that I was with was that they thought the same thing about me. So therefore, my actions dictated that they thought that about me. So it was like a lot of treatment to that person as if I already knew or assumed that they thought I was unattractive. So it seems like when we have these feelings towards ourselves, we project them towards other people. So if I'm angry with myself, I'm going to project anger towards you. And that's all because I'm assuming that you think things about me that I actually think about myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really think there's really two roads about it. I mean, again, if you follow John Bowlby, if you read any of his works, there's three types of personalities, or three types of emotional states. There's the anxious, the stable, and the avoidant. And so, and I think really when it talks about, you know, modern day, or at least people that feel at odds with their emotions, there's the avoidant and the anxious. If you're stable, then you really don't need to watch this show. Honestly, you're like, hey, I got this shit. I don't need your guys' help. But there's really two roads to it. It's either like you fight, you're very anxious, you're very angry, you're trying to see if you project that anger that somebody's going to stay with you and fight with you, or there's the avoidant, if somebody's going to chase after you. And when you don't receive one of those two things, it's like, well, this person has no value to me, so I need to leave this situation. So
flee. Fight, flight, or flee.
Yes. Yeah. So avoid or engage in some sort of fight. You know, so there, like I said, there's two ways about it, and for the most part, I think a lot of us are just used to fighting. You know, because is that very evident for you?
I was just laughing because my instance this morning, and I consider myself pretty emotionally intelligent. I've been doing a lot of work on myself, and this person happened to be particularly close, and I normally will be neutral, right? And just see the situation for what it is, and be able to see that, you know, this isn't me. This isn't that they're a bad person. This is just maybe something coming up for them that they're projecting onto me. However, I took it personal, and I reacted, and I became a little loud to match the other person's voice, and I ended it, and then I fled, right? And so it just and that's just what I was thinking about when I was laughing, was that if the person is a little bit closer to you, sometimes it's a little bit harder to determine and be self-aware of what's going on, because they're so closely tied to you, right? That it becomes more personal, more deep
Yeah.
triggers can be activated, I guess you would call it. And then we tend to react in the way that we would react according to our like standard programming or scripts, as you call them.
I call them
the way
scripts.
yeah, programming scripts we're going to call as like interchangeable words, right? For you and I in our verbiage. But yeah, that's what I was noticing that's why I was laughing, was because this morning's incident really tied closely to that.
You know, it's amazing to me, like how, when we love somebody, we're willing to be involved in some of the nuances that they're involved in. Like being angry. Being angry is a state of just projection. It's like, hey, I don't want to feel this feeling anymore. I want you to own it.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, I'm going to be angry at you. And then if you receive that anger and you become angry yourself, it's like, I'm almost giving it to you.
It's the misery loves company syndrome that way, right? I mean, if we didn't know someone, we wouldn't go dump our anger on them and say, this is just go and just like dump. And because we think that would scare them off. And that's why do we do that to the people that we love and expect them to take it?
Well, I think it's based on our scripts. I mean, based on the stuff that we are familiar with, and really, again, there's really two ways about it. I don't think any of us have really sat down as children and said, "Hey, this is how you should feel." I know you
Probably
feel angry right now, but I am of sound mind and body as your parent to express to you and tell you that you're in an angry state, and I think you need to calm down. And then once you're calmed down, we can have this discussion.
I actually just had this conversation with my son the other day.
Oh,
It was
really?
a little bit different, though. He was reacting to something that was very just off the charts. I don't know. He was tired or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that the difference between how we were raised and how other people may have been raised, or hopefully the new generation, is that allowing ourselves to feel what we're feeling and go through it and then come back and have a conversation. Like with my son, he got so upset about something very, very silly. And instead of telling him what he should feel or wronging him or shaming him, I just said, you go do your thing and get through this. And when you're ready to talk, come out and talk to me.
Yeah, it's such a challenge just to even put your own emotions in check. And then when you're able to put somebody else's emotions in check, that's something different. I think it helps when you're a parent, because you're a little bit older and you kind of know. But
I don't think we can put anyone else's emotions in check, though.
Why not?
I think we can just allow them to experience their emotions.
I guess I would agree with that, especially when it comes to children. You have to kind of go through that process and to really feel the emotion in order to experience it, to really learn from it.
Yeah.
You can't always be, I guess, that safeguard, that stop guard, that orange cone in the road, I guess.
Yeah, like I was thinking about this last night, and I caught myself saying, "You shouldn't feel bad," and I'm like, "Wait a second, how?" So if someone tells me you shouldn't feel bad when I'm feeling bad, like how would that make you feel?
Bad.
Worse, like worse than you already felt, right?
A little bit, yeah.
And that's the whole resisting what you resist persists, and so it's like allow them to feel that resistance. I think we're going on a whole new topic at this point. But
Possibly. I mean, we really want to talk about emotional intelligence. So
Yeah.
I think the idea of maturing isn't about a physical body. It's not about an age. It's about emotionally maturing. I think that's the bridge to who we or where we want to go in our spiritual life. Is we want to understand these emotions, and we're here to understand these emotions, because physically, I mean, we're born and then we grow up and then we die.
yeah,
Very
basically.
basic. Our emotions are something we need to learn from. We're here on this planet for a reason,
I think we're here to learn.
and those
from our
emotions are
Yeah, I think we're here to learn from those emotions and become wiser, and then share what we've learned. And yeah, I really think that's our journey here.
Yeah, and the thing I appreciate about you, Mary, is that I'm able to express these things, with you, and have this commonality with you that is really beyond anybody else. I'm able to share things that are just nice to have an opinion on, and to have at least a perspective that is unique outside of myself. In a very feminine form, because if you guys noticed, I'm masculine and she's
I'm feminine.
Potentially. I think you're dominant still.
We'll see about that.
But when it comes to these things, you need that kind of that sense of like a different perspective. One, but also that commonality where, I feel safe to express myself.
Non-judgment is key.
And far too often we just assume many things of somebody else, and because of that insecurity, because of that feeling of fear, we project either anger or avoid that sense. We either hide and pretend it doesn't exist and pretend it goes away.
Yeah.
We're very much like children as we grow up.
We're big children.
I'm a big kid.
We are.
I have a Star Wars collection. So just to let you know.
I was going to pull something up, but there's nothing going on.
There's Yoda everywhere in the studio.
You guys can't see it, but they're here.
They're everywhere. But we're talking about emotional intelligence and understanding that a little bit further. And I think really the takeaways that I would like for everybody here to really experience is that when you're in a moment, and we talked about this before the show, when you're in a car just driving along and all of a sudden you get like in a car accident, you don't even realize. There are so many moments emotionally we're like that. We're just kind of going along, we're happy and everything's going well. And then all of a sudden, boom, a call from our mom, or a call from our dad, a call from our, a cousin or a sister or something. It just totally breaks that up and deviates us from that trajectory of being happy.
Yeah.
And then we're in a state of just turmoil and like questioning ourselves, being angry, being frustrated, collecting that and really understanding that and really trying to figure out how we manage that is really what's key and what we're trying to talk about today.
Yeah, we're just basically saying that like there is a way for you to catch yourself in those moments and be aware with the self-awareness enough to be able to not react where it would escalate the situation, right?
Yeah.
Like I will be honest and vulnerable and say that this morning I reacted, and this was because it was such a close relationship.
Yeah.
But it really had me thinking about the fact that we don't have to react to someone else's projections, and to be specific, this person assumed that I thought they were unintelligent or I thought they were stupid. And I was really just coming from a place of trying to help.
Yeah.
And if that person would have had a higher assumption of me, like that I was, what do you call it? Assuming the best of me, they would have realized I was trying to help, but they were so wrapped up in their assumption and their insecurity about feeling stupid that their reaction towards me was very violent, and then therefore because they were such a close relationship, I reacted in a way that was like, Mary, that's not you. This is not you.
Well, the hard part, I think, with a lot of these emotions is when it becomes somebody like your parent or your sibling or your spouse. You can't. You're connected with them for a reason.
Yeah.
There is something significant emotionally with them that you're in this interplay with. They come close or they're very similar to a pattern of behavior that you're used to as a child. Whatever you're receiving, however you receive love as a child, is how they're emulating that, and that's why you're so close. That's why you fall in love.
Yeah,
it's because they mirror that, which is amazing. When you realize that, it's like, oh, okay, so all the things that are good and bad of when I grew up, these emotions that I was feeling when I was growing up, this person I'm with now, or whoever I'm engaged with at this moment, they play a significant role and a familiar role to what I was used to as a child. So now what the fuck do I do with that? I don't know what to do with that. But I do know that because I love them so much and I'm connected with them, that I'm here to play those familiar scripts. And so now it's like, well, what do I do with those things? That's emotional intelligence. It's really separating yourself from, hey, I'm in this moment and I need to figure this out. And I need to create a different pathway than what I was used to.
Yeah, exactly. Creating something brand new for yourself and being able to step back and realize that I'm reacting. Like this morning, I realized I was reacting to something that wasn't mine. This was not mine. And once I realized that, I was able to really go analyze the situation and go, okay, this was this person's projection of me. And I was then able to have compassion for this person. Right. And that's really what I think is all about, is getting to a place of forgiveness and compassion for the other person. And then I got to a place of gratitude, knowing that we're here in this life to learn. And how would we learn if everything was easy? Right.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the people that are our greatest emotional challenges end up being our greatest emotional teachers, because that's where we learn the most about ourselves, and that's where we learn the most about how to navigate through our relationships with other people, you know? And that's where I got to, and that's where I'm hoping that like we can help people get to with this sense of radical forgiveness.
I would say, like, if there was a learning lesson for today, it's like if you feel, I guess, quote unquote, happy in a moment, then all of a sudden something or somebody throws you off and you feel unhappy, or at least different than how you're feeling. That's a sense of like, I need to stop and pause. I don't want to project anger, and I don't want to avoid it. I want to understand where this feeling is coming from. Because a second ago I was happy, and then all of a sudden I'm angry or frustrated, and I don't know what to do. It's that moment where I think writing sometimes helps you down,
Oh,
especially
absolutely.
writing those feelings down, writing
Yeah.
wherever you're at. I think writing is a big component of reflection, because it gets it out of here and then onto paper. And then you can decide at that point whether or not you preserve it and keep it and keep it in a journal.
If I could say one thing
go
in there, the writing is one way.
Yeah.
Having a trusted person to talk to, and
Like a Mary Van Elton?
Yes, that
Yeah, Mary's
or
that
Heather
way
Van
person.
Elton, I don't know. But I honestly I trust my boyfriend, and I called him and I said, hey, I just need to vent something to you. I don't want you to take it on, but I need to process it, and I need to get it out of me so that I don't internalize it for the day. And I told him the story. I told him where I was coming from, and I was able to because I'm a verbal processor. So the more I speak about something, the more I get it, right? So I was able to go through the whole thing and then get to a place of like, oh, I get why I thought that way. So if you're a verbal processor like me, I used to just think I talked a lot.
Well, I mean, you are female,
Which
so I
I
mean,
do.
it's part of your
No,
nature.
I'm like beyond female. I like talk a lot, and I verbally process everything. So it was like just being able to say it and get it out and not expect anyone to take it on. But you have to have that trusted person. Like I would call you, and
really?
I would say, hey, this happened to me. Well, I've texted you.
We've
and
talked a
said-
lot before the show.
Yeah,
too.
so, but I would call someone I trust that I know is okay and that won't internalize or take it on. And just say, this is what happened to me. Just allow me to get it out so I don't hold it all day. And the minute I did that, I did not feel it with me the rest of the day.
Yeah,
Like, if I hadn't have done that, I would have been thinking about it, stewing about it, getting more pissed off about it, you know? And it was like, get it out. Write about it, which I used to do. Or once I learned I was a verbal processor, I just found trusted people to talk to.
You know, the really cool thing is if you did call me up one day and you were so mad and so frustrated, like,
You'd
fuck
be
you,
like,
Robert,
wait.
I hate you. I like,
Not
oh.
you.
But no, I'm just saying, like, if you did that to me, I'm like, there's a part of me that say, oh, wow, I feel really blessed that she trusts me enough to cuss at me and blame me and be angry at me. That's really cool. So why are you yelling at me?
So I have dumped on you some stuff that has happened to me before, but it's,
But I would say the people that, again, this is, I guess, to counter reflect, you know, it's just, you know, when you trust somebody, you're angry with them. You know, you love somebody when you're just frustrated with them.
Yeah.
Right. You know, there's something there.
Yeah.
But on the reverse side, it's like, oh my God, it's that sense of reflection. Like, I trust this person enough to be angry with them. That's really cool. Okay, so now what do I do with that?
Yeah.
You know, it's I guess a signal or a flag for you, not a red flag, just a flag, that you trust somebody enough to be angry with them
That's true. Yeah.
or be frustrated with them,
Because
or
if you don't trust them, you think they're going to leave or they're not going to like you, you're not going to like.
or even care
so
for their
be.
opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like even just, I think sometimes you get angry just to see if they're going to react.
That's true.
Because if they don't react, it's like, oh well, fuck them. They don't belong in my life. You know, if
Yeah.
they're not going to be mad at me, I'm like,
They don't care that I'm angry.
yeah, they don't care enough. You know,
Yeah.
Unless you call me and you're angry, I'm like, oh my. Yeah.
You'd be like, who is this?
Who are you? But it's a really cool, and I think if you take a moment and really embrace the fact that when you're angry with somebody that they mean something to you, that is really a moment that I think you should embrace more than anything else.
Yeah, and I think that was the moment I was embracing when I realized how upset I was at this person and how much they meant to me, and then realized like the fact that they're challenging me so much emotionally means that I'm learning the most from them.
Yeah.
You know, because I get to navigate through all of what they're teaching me and all the frustrations just to get to a better me, and it only happened because of that. So, you know, life doesn't happen to people. I mean, easy things don't happen. Beautiful things don't happen to people when they just have it easy. And life's on a velvet pillow, right? The challenges are what grow us. So I look at that, and I got to that space with this person, and I'm grateful now. And
well, this person has a very like strong significance in your life. So it's not just a random person, you know. It's not just a friend.
Yeah.
We won't mention any names because I already know who she's talking about, but that's okay.
It was my mom.
Oh, she dropped her name. Oh, shit.
Oh,
so we are talking about emotional intelligence. So the definition of emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions in a positive way to relieve stress, communicate effectively, emphasize with others, overcome challenges, and diffuse conflict. You believe that?
That is it.
And I think I really think that's the goal for all of us, right? We really want to embrace what life has to bring us in these emotions, because we all experience stress and frustration, and we all project out to something else. Like, we want somebody else to manage that. We are just little kids at times.
Yeah.
You know, we want a parent to come coddle us and say, you know, everything's going to be okay.
And we need to be that parent to ourselves. And that's what we talk about in this show. And that's how we're hopefully making an impact in the world, is like learning to be that conscious parent to ourselves, and to be able to soothe ourselves and navigate these emotions and become better emotionally equipped people to be able to deal with others and have better relationships. So that's our goal.
Yeah, and I think demonstrating this conversation, especially that I have with Mary, and these things that we do, that we can share with you, and say, you know what, there are other people out there that are just like us.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And we're okay. We're safe to have these discussions. We're safe to say certain things and not feel the sense of like anger. And then and if you ever got angry with me, I'd be like, oh my God, she's angry. I'd actually be happy, because that means in some way you feel close enough to me to be angry with.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry. I'm
Have
kidding.
you turned green?
Bingo, you got it. Yeah, no, it would
boy.
take a lot to make me angry. And yet, you know, there's something beautiful about knowing that you can be vulnerable enough with someone to be upset with them and know that they're still going to be there in your life. So
absolutely,
we may cross that path one day. I'm sure we will. We haven't.
I don't know. I mean,
who knows? I don't think that that's necessarily
some of the things we do
doesn't
allow for that, I think.
But I really don't think that's necessary. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be, but but I would feel safe saying to you, I'm upset with something. You know, I know that in my heart of hearts, it's like I would feel safe with you to be able to express that. So I don't need to get angry, but I feel safe knowing that I could get angry. So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd ever be angry with you.
I may come in painted green one day just to.
Oh, just for fun?
Yeah, just for fun.
What kind of fun? Oh, anyway, so you did want to talk about a book, though, if I may.
Yes. So this book came to mind when I was thinking about what I was going through today, Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping. And this book really covers a lot about how to navigate and take control of these emotions as anger, fear, and so really how to take self-responsibility and to see other people in a new light, right? Because when we see people in a new light and we're able to forgive at a deeper level, we will no longer make an ass out of them, make an ass out of me. You know, we won't assume the worst out of other people. And so that's what it really boils down to, is having this deeper level of forgiveness for others and ourselves that I think will help us navigate through this journey in a more peaceful way.
Absolutely. So Radical Forgiveness, and this is by Colin Tipping. Yeah. So if you want to get it on Amazon or whatever, you know, form of media you want to collect this on and reference this as a book, you know, there's so many things that I think Mary and I have learned through different and various resources that could help you. And as you mature and as you grow stronger within yourself, you know, there's other people out there that are very mindful of your emotions and where you're at and want to help you and create a safe place for you to speak to. So if you have any comments or questions, drop those in and we'll address them as we go along. But Mary, what did we learn today?
Oh, we learned a lot. As usual, we learned that we can take responsibility for our own actions and have the best assumptions of other people. And that once we take responsibility for how we feel about ourselves, we can show up in life in a more beautiful way.
Oh, well, that's very nicely said, Miss. And if I may take the outro, you did the intro today. So I will take the outro. We're at the end of the show. So I appreciate all of you for joining us. Rob Morales, RCO Network, with Mary Van Elstein, sometimes Heather. She is my Heather. She is your Mary. But join us every Wednesday. We're going to be talking about emotions and helping you develop and be a little bit stronger, not only as business owners, but as people, because that's who we are. We're subject to these emotions, and the stronger we are together, the stronger we become against life. So,
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
love you all. Until next time, we will see you.